All right, YouTube, I'm at the Packard plant. I'm going to restart this here. Where this building you said was built in
1917.
1917.
And it was built as a Packard dealership.
Packard dealership.
And you are in the showroom right now. And the showroom, over the years, this dealership closed in 1939. And the showroom got used a couple of times after that, before the museum opened, as other businesses. But the back part of this building, where the service bays are upstairs and down, remained pretty much sealed up since 1939.
Now, you have any idea, given the fact I don't know how many Packard dealerships there was in this part of the country, why this one was chosen for a museum?
Because the guys that started it lived here in Dayton.
Oh, the guys that started the Packard company originally lived in Dayton?
The guys who started the museum.
The museum, okay.
Right. They were here, and they knew that this had been a Packard dealership, and that's why they went after this building.
Yeah, if you could show me some of the cars that you have some knowledge of. Well, I'm not sure what this one is a model of.
That's a styling model.
Style model.
And you'll see these, there's a couple of them, mainly in the other building. But they would try out various design treatments, window shapes. You'll even see some that have got, one set of wheels and hubcaps on one side and one set on the other. Different colors, all kinds of things.
And what car is this closely modeled after? We could just go through some of them.
This is from a late 30s.
Late 30s.
Cars. There's one similar on the other side.
Now this car right here, I guess this is...
This is a 1930, body by Brewster. Now, just for clarification, Packard, Duesenberg, all of the premier auto companies didn't make bodies.
Didn't make bodies.
They made a chassis. So they would sell you a motor and a transmission and a frame and all the drivetrain. And then you took it somewhere and had the body built.
Now how much was this car in the dollars at the time, and what would it approximately translate to in today's dollars? Do you know? I
can give you a scientific guess, and that's about it.
Okay.
This says the car in 1930 sold for $7,005.
1930, $17,005.
$7,005.
$7,005.
But keep in mind that the average income in America at the time was less than $2,000 a year.
So that would have been around 40,000, or 40 to 60,000.
It's basically 4 years' pay.
Yeah.
So if you look now at the poverty level at $35,000 times 4, that's $140,000.
$140,000 this car would approximately be worth.
Well, if they were manufactured today, they would probably be that much or more. This car, like I said, your guess is as good as anybody else's. This car is probably worth $750,000 to $1 million.
Oh, right now in its current shape.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of the inside of it right here. Packard. Yeah, they just don't make cars like this. The steel, or I don't know if that's steel on there, the body frame.
It's steel.
Steel, yeah, they just don't make cars like this anymore. And this next one right here is...
This one is an interesting automobile. This color is very unusual, and this car is original.
Original.
This car has not been restored. This is, as is, where is. It's got dual mounts.
See, it's got this little travel luggage.
Extra trunk.
Yeah, which is pretty.
That's where the term came from.
Whoa! What's this car called?
What we call a trunk today. Well, this is a 1934. It's a Super 8 Sport Phaeton.
Sport Phaeton.
And what you have is that second cowl
Second what? Hold on.
where the windshield is.
Second. Okay.
This is called a cowl.
Cowl.
And the second windshield, and this all folds up and into a compartment behind the seat.
Very
There's
interesting.
another one of these in the museum, and it is folded in. Now,
And then what year model was this right here?
this is a 34, and the thing that's
34.
interesting about this one is that this car was purchased for a couple's teenage daughter. And she didn't like it, so she didn't drive it. Such a deal. But they drove it for years, and then it's got a history of who bought and sold it.
That's very interesting.
This car is interesting.
This car right here is a
1947.
1904 after war car. Then was this the first generation of this model? Whatever this
Yes.
one. What was this called?
Well, it's just a Packard.
Just a Packard.
But this one is Al Capone's last car.
Al Capone's last car. Yeah. Right here. Was he from Detroit or
He's from Chicago.
Chicago? Yeah. Here's a picture of Al Capone. Do you know when he died or Al Capone's last automobile?
He was incarcerated in 1947. So, and died shortly thereafter.
Was he a World War II vet, I'm assuming?
No, he was a monster gangster.
Monster gangster. Oh, yeah, that's right. I've heard of that, yeah.
He was the guy who invented how to break prohibition.
Prohibition.
This car, as well, has not been restored. It has been repainted.
Repainted. This color, I'm not sure the color, kind of like a purplish maybe, or...
Well, it's a special blue, and it matches the original factory color.
Special blue, and it matches the original factory color.
And while you're filming the seats there, those are silk.
Those are silk seats. All the seats are.
Yeah, the seat covers are silk.
It's very interesting right there, Lee. I don't know what these kind of wheels are made out of right here, but
Well, the wheels, the rim is steel,
rim is steel.
and of course these are called wide white walls, or some people call them gangster whites.
Gangster whites. And this section right here, I guess is some librarian archive information. I'm not.
Right. There's a lot of material here that's been archived. We've got a lot of paperwork related to Packard and the various models. In fact, there's a board up here that relates to how Patterson at NCR sent a wire to Packard during the flood and said, send equipment, and they did.
I guess some of the little obvious toy little toy cars that were made. I don't know, were any of these made after the plant closed right here? Were these all pre-made, the little toy?
No, these would have been probably made in the 50s and 60s when model cars were so popular.
When model cars, okay. Oh, is this George Weiss right here?
Mm-hmm.
Ask the man who owns it. I heard this was a Packard motto, I think. Ask the man who...
Ask the man who owns one. That was their signature advertising slogan. And it came down to, the story is that the Packard brothers had bought a Winton, and they didn't like it. They had a lot of trouble with it. And the people of Winton told them basically, if you don't like it, go build your own.
Go build
so
your
they
own,
did.
yeah.
And rushed one year, early on in the process, for advertising copy. One of the brothers was asked, well, what do we tell them? What do we put in the ad? And he says, tell him to ask the man who owns one.
Ask the man who
And
owns one.
That's been the slogan ever since.
This right here is 1930
1930.
Speed Roadster.
It's a boat tail speedster.
Boat-tail Speedster.
Now that comes from the shape of the back of the car. Point out a couple of things here. The headlight that turns with the wheels.
Right here at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. That turns with the wheels. The 30 and 31s had this particular hood ornament.
30 and 31.
They're the only 2 years where they used that.
Were they all the Packards that used those, or just certain models?
No,
that,
no. 30 and 31, all of them had that. There are 4 or 5 hood ornaments over time.
Were these the original tires? These Firestones?
No, they wouldn't be the. This is the original configuration and shape and dimension, but it's not the originals. And this is where you get the name Motel Speedster from the configuration of the body back here.
Boat-tail Speedster. I see kind of the boat shape
Yeah.
here on
That's
the back
where
of
that
it.
comes from. Now this is a pre-war car. This is a 1939, but it's a custom body by Darren, and Darren was an American. He'd worked in France for years, building custom coach work, and eventually went to Hollywood, and that's where this car was altered. His signature is this cut-down door. So all the Darren cars have got that cut-down door.
Now, when you mean pre-war, the war was going on 2 years before, but I think it started in September. It was the Commonwealth of Nations. Was this car built before any activity started in the war, or just
No.
U.S. activity?
U.S. activity. This was a 39.
Because I think if my history serves me correctly, the war started
in
around,
39.
yeah, I think it was around the fall of 39, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, September 39. We didn't get into it until December of 41.
Yeah, and that's very interesting, because I think a lot of Americans probably don't even realize that unless they actually looked up their history.
Exactly.
Because I know there's been stories of, I know like some of the POW camps, I've seen some of those like that they had up in Canada. There was one called Bowmanville that was very famous, and the German prisoners would try to escape from there.
Now the other thing that's interesting about this car, one, when you had this custom body work done, it took time.
Oh yeah.
So you bought a 39 automobile, and by the time you got it back, the 40s were out. And this car was altered to have a 1940 grille.
Now, speaking of the 40s, how did the war time impact the Packard brand? Was there a slowdown or a steady
all car production was ceased.
All car
And
production was ceased.
That was true for everybody.
Even overseas, or just here in the
Especially
U.S.
overseas. But in the United States, all car production was halted, except for a very few automobiles that were built for military use.
And this car right here, this looks like one of the oldest ones here.
Well, not exactly, but yeah, it's an early one. It's a 1932, and again, this is an unrestored automobile.
Completely original then.
Yeah,
What's this one called here?
Well, that I'm not sure exactly. It's a two-door convertible.
Two-door convertible.
But you can see the deterioration of the paint.
Oh yeah.
But that's 82-year-old paint.
Oh yeah.
So
82-year-old paint, yeah.
And these steps, this is a rumble seat.
Rumble seat.
And this is how you get into you just step right up and step in.